Call to order the August 15th City Council meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. For the moment of silence, please keep all the people in Hawaii in your prayers. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jackie, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mayor Evans?
Here.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Here.
Mr. Parrish?
Present.
Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Mr. Redmond?
Present.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Here.
Mr. Mitchell?
Do I have a motion to excuse Mr. Mitchell?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes. All right, we have proceedings. Do I have a motion to approve the council meeting proceedings from July 18th?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Abstain.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes. And do I have a motion to approve the council special meeting proceedings from July 25th?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes. And next we have financial statements. Do I have a motion to adopt the June financial statements?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
And do I have a motion to receive the July financial statements?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
And that brings us to public comments. Anyone from the public like to make a comment? See none. That takes us to our City of Milford Committee of the Whole meeting. So we will open that meeting. Can you call the roll, Jackie, for the Committee of the Whole meeting?
Yes. Mayor Evans?
Yes, here.
Mayor Russell?
Yep.
Mr.
Yes.
Mitchell? Mr. Parrish?
Here.
Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Mr. Redmond?
Present.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Here. And another public comment. Anyone want to comment on our Committee of the Whole topics? All right, we're going to be discussing the city manager contract.
All right, Mayor, I move that we, council, move into an executive session pursuant to and in accordance with Section 3.051 of the Milford City Charter to consider the compensation of a public employee or official.
All right, and we will return to conclude the meeting.
I need a
Oh, sorry, roll
I
call.
need a second.
Yeah,
Second.
second, sorry.
Mayor Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, we will return.
ordinance authorizing employment contract with Michael Doss to serve as city manager to the agenda this evening.
Do we have a second? Second.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn from executive session and return to regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes. All right, that takes us to standing committee reports, safety services, Ms. Cooper.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Safety Services Committee meeting met on August 9th. Meeting was called to order at 5:02 PM. Present were myself, Lisa Evans, Ben Redmond. Staff was City Manager Michael Doss, Assistant Police Chief Sean Mahan, and Street Department Supervisor Ed Hackmeister. We had visitors, Annie and Greg Yergeson, Esther and Tyler Harris, Lawrence Spiegel, and Donna Lucky, all residents of Milford. Proceedings, Ms. Evans made a motion to approve the proceedings from the June 13th, 2023 Safety Services Committee minutes. Mr. Redmond seconded the motion. Motion passed 3-0. Discussion, purchase of a mower for the service department. Mr. Hackmeister presented a quote from Claremont County Equipment to purchase a mower, for the service department in the amount of $15,519. This mower will replace an existing mower currently out of service. Mrs. Evans asked if the mower was included in the current budget. Mr. Hackmeister indicated yes, and there were two mowers actually budgeted into this year's budget. Mr. Hackmeister also stated that the mower from Claremont County Equipment was part of the State of Ohio purchasing program. With no other committee decision, the committee agreed to recommend the law director draft an ordinance for the purchase of a mower from Claremont County Equipment in the amount of $15,519.
Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Next discussion was the lease purchase of VAC-All. Mr. Doss presented a lease purchase proposal from Santander Bank, for a VAC-All truck for the service department. Mr. Doss stated the legal language differences between Huntington Bank and our law director could not be resolved, and the lease purchase had to go back out for solicitation. The city solicited several financial institutions, and the Santander was the most responsive. Mr. Doss indicated the lease purchase obligation is $376,000 with a maturity term of 6 years at an interest rate of 5.3%. With no other committee discussion, the committee agreed to recommend that the law director draft an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease purchase obligation agreement with the Santander Bank, N.A., to procure a vacuum truck, VAC-All, from Best Equipment for use for the service department to be financed in 6-year terms in the total amount of $376,000.
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Our next discussion was asphalt paving quotes for State Route 28 repairs. Ed Hackmeister presented 3 quotes to provide asphalt repairs to several sections of road on State Route 28. The repairs include the recent water main break as well as 4 spots of degraded pavement located just past Kurgan Lane and in between the Kroger Plaza and Copper Blue Restaurant. The 3 quotes are as follows. Naira Paving in the amount of $12,554.64. Rack 7 in the amount of $9,750, and J.K. Muir in the amount of $11,890. With no other committee discussion, the committee agreed to recommend that the law director draft an ordinance for authorizing an agreement with RAC 7 for paving for certain portions of State Route 28 in the amount of $9,750.
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Our next discussion was traffic concerns on Lila Avenue from the 5-point intersection to Main Street downtown. We had several residents that were concerned about traffic light at St. Andrews, excessive speed in that area, and also the crosswalk at Locust and Main. All of those details can be found on the website. But what the conclusion was, Assistant Chief Mahan said he would get with Ed Hackmeister and consult with his officers on possible solutions to addressing the traffic and pedestrian concerns. Mr. Hackmeister stated that he would work to obtain quotes to provide the equipment and address some of the concerns brought before the committee. And other matters before the committee, Donna Lucky discussed her concern over the property located at Garfield Avenue. Mr. Hackmeister stated that the service department would trim the branches back in that area. There being no other business, Mrs. Cooper made a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:46 p.m., seconded by Mr. Redmond. All voted yes.
All right, thank you very much. I did see Mr. Hackmeister out there today with some people at the light, checking that traffic light and all that, so that was good.
Nice. Okay, thank you.
All right, that takes us to the city manager report. Mr. Dawes.
Thank you, Mayor. A few updates. First, to build off of Ms. Cooper, and Mayor, what you were just saying, Ed was out there actually today. And we've advised the police department, let the residents know, let council know that based off of the discussions that we had at the committee meeting last week, the traffic signal at St. Andrews, that crosswalk, is now on a rotation.
Nice.
Just trying to get people used to that light. It's always been there. But noticing that light, and of course, it's imperative based off of all the people that will be hopefully going to 5 Points Landing Park once the park opens. So it's kind of proof that come to a meeting and see action. They're also going to trim the branches as well,
Okay.
the overhang.
Was there any
so.
talk about lowering the light? Because I did notice when I was stopped at it today, it is really high, it
Oh,
seems like.
we haven't done that
Okay.
yet,
But
but
is that in the discussion still maybe?
yes, absolutely. We're getting there, and he's actually getting quotes. I think I might have mentioned on traffic lights at Locust in Maine, and also throughout the city as well. I'm probably going off on my report, but I did have a meeting on Monday with ODOT and our engineers at Kleinger's. If you can remember, some of you, we did get a grant from OKI for traffic improvements on State Route 28 and Lila. We'll be budgeting engineering for that in 2024, and that project actually will go for bid in 2025. Will include crosswalk improvements. One will be on State Route 28, where that kind of existing paved brick crosswalk is now, and then also a crosswalk at Robbie Ridge for all the folks, especially some of the seniors that kind of come down in that area to get across to the store. So don't forget about those improvements. I know it's been a while.
Yeah.
But in the rotation of that grant in Grant World, there's like a 3 or 4 year rotation to get that eligibility. So that's coming up. So just kind of a blast from the past. But a lot of improvements to pedestrian safety are in the works. Back to my report. The Wallace Water Tower supply and discharge lines for development is on time and on budget at this point. That's a great thing. This projects are expected to be completed over the next 3 months. The Wallace Water Tower bids are expected to be finalized and advertised by the end of this year. Jim Terrell Park Canoe and Kayak Launch update. I know the goal was to get that installed before season. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, because there's just a lot of bureaucratic red tape, for lack of a better word. But the final design is complete by Kleinger's. The city is waiting approval from the Army Corps of Engineers, because they have jurisdiction over that, for final approval. And I talked to our engineer the other day, and bids are expected to be advertised in September. It's really not a very large project. They're hoping to get that done by the end of this year. It should be ready for next canoe and kayak season. City Hall exterior repairs, just want to remind council and the public, we're going to re-advertise those bids at the end of this month. Our thought, we re-advertised it twice in the heart of project season. We got no one to bid on it, but we had businesses that were interested, just couldn't fit that in their schedule. So we're hoping now at the end of August, we can have a little bit more competitive bids and get that out and get that done before the winter hits. And hopefully get it finished sometime in November and get those finished. Standing committee reports, there's none at this time. August 23rd, correct me if I'm wrong, is a tree commission meeting at 2? Sound familiar? Okay. September 4th is Labor Day, so the city offices will be closed. And then September 5th is our regularly scheduled council meeting at 7 o'clock, and we go back to 2 meetings a month.
All right, thank you very much. That takes us to police. Chief Mills.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I sent my July monthly report out just a couple of hours ago. I'll touch on some of the highlights. On Squad 1, they responded for a motor vehicle theft at 208 Valley Brook. That vehicle was later recovered by the Cincinnati Police Department. They also responded for a missing elderly male that was last seen at Kroger. The investigation revealed the man was a dementia patient who drove away after his wife left the keys in the vehicle. Thanks to the hard work of Officer Brown, the man was quickly located, and the family sent a very nice thank you card to Officer Brown for his diligence and professionalism. On Squad 2, they responded to McDonald's for a report of a special needs child running from the mother while in the drive-through line. Officers followed our critical missing procedure and subsequently located the child at the Terrace Park UDF. They also investigated the sudden death of a woman in her 30s at the Valley Brook apartment that was later ruled a medical emergency. We responded to Belt Street at the request of the Claremont County Sheriff's Office for a warrant attempt involving a juvenile who would cut off an ankle monitor while on probation. That suspect was located and taken into custody. Squad 2 also responded to Seminole and Mohawk for a small child found walking unattended. The investigation involved notifying Children's Protective Service, the prosecutor's office, and an extensive 2-hour canvass before they located the grandparents. On Squad 3, they responded to 100 Chamber Drive, that's the UDF, for a robbery where the suspect entered the store and demanded money, stating he would kill both employees if they did not comply. The employees told the suspect they did not have access to the money in the safe, and the suspect exited the store saying he was going to his car to get a gun. The suspect fortunately left in a light-colored sedan. We later learned the suspect had attempted robberies in both Miami and Union Townships earlier in the night, driving his vehicle through the front door of a bank in Union and a gas station in Miami. The suspect vehicle was picked up on a Miami Township flock camera, and the suspect was ultimately found walking in the roadway in his underwear in a subdivision on State Route 131. The suspect, Eric Smallwood, is currently housed in the Claremont County Jail on a $600,000 bond, hopefully getting the help he needs. Also on Squad 3, an officer made a traffic stop on Wallace, which led to felony drug recovery that are pending lab results for charges. On Squad 4, officers responded for a domestic violence incident on Belt Street where the female resident was transported to jail. They went to another domestic on Mohawk Trail where the offender fled the scene prior to arrival. Charges were generated and the suspect was picked up by Squad 2 the next day. Lastly, officers assisted EMS and rode to the hospital as security after a female ingested an unknown substance and became combative. Some totals for the month: we took 1,086 call records, conducted 434 extra patrols, vacation house checks, and school visits, took 268 offense reports, issued 105 written warnings, 141 traffic citations, and investigated 21 auto accidents. Pleased to say that our annual CALIA on-site went very well. I just got the final report today. They always have some suggestions for improvement, but it was very complimentary and favorable. Some community relations items: all Project Lifesaver batteries were exchanged during the month of July. And Officer Dennis had 2 riders this month, one potential officer candidate and another young man interested in a career in law enforcement. And I'll segue into advertising that we are still taking applications. We anticipate that we may have up to 4 openings off of this list due to retirements. So if you know anyone that is either in the academy or currently working, please encourage them to take a look at our website, give me a call, check out our Facebook page. But our application period is open until Labor Day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that takes us to Fire and EMS. Chief Baird. Thank you.
It's all good.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present a report from the fire department. Just a few things. Looking at half year, our details are trending to be about the same as they were in 2022. Right now, we've had 1,108 details through the end of June. That trends to be just over 2,200, which was the high mark for the department that we hit last year. Our budget currently, as of July 31st, we are about 7.8, almost 8% under budget on expenses, and close to 3% in the good for revenue. Some of the general activities going on with the department. We've been just incredibly busy with training, which I will talk about in a minute, but I also want to take a minute to thank those who have supported many of you, the fundraisers that the club has been doing, starting with Sparks in the Park and now continue all the way through the art affair. The club just at the Big Trouble Blues Band activity the other night, along with the raffle, raised over $4,000.
Awesome.
And all of that is going to the Santa Sunday Fund. And so we were just incredibly happy, proud, and thankful for the community's support for that. And just a few other things. The department participated in the Claremont County Fair, in the parade, as well as providing standby services at the fairgrounds during a couple of the evenings. All of the county departments pitch in to help Stone Lake Township that week. They cannot protect the fairgrounds adequately and also handle their normal busy call volume. So all of the departments take a night or two and provide resources to help protect the fairgrounds and the number of additional visitors to the village of Owensville. So we were there for the country concert. I think it was Friday and Saturday night of the fair that we were there, helping Stone Lake Township out. We did promote 2 employees from part-time to career employees to fill vacancies. Carly Eggemeyer is a Milford High School graduate and a graduate of Cincinnati State Community College. She worked her way up through our cadet program all the way up into the career position. Ryan Woodruff has been in the fire service at least 15 years and in every capacity, volunteer, part-time, and career positions. He joined us back in July of last year, and they'll both be getting their paramedic training in the very near future. So we're glad to have them as moved up to career employees. I talked about a tremendous amount of training. We've had the Ohio Fire Academy mobile driving laboratory in town. We ran about 60 firefighters through from multiple departments, including our own, over the several days that it was here. A number of employees completed their Blue Card Command certification. We did other training on water rescue, rotary saw operations, tremendous amount of training with Miami Township. They have a building available to them in Techno Center that's going to be torn down very shortly if it's not already in the process. And we were able to do quite a bit of training with them on different things that we never get a chance to practice because there's no way to simulate it, too expensive. So when you get a building like that, that was one of the nice things. I know it was terrible to see Milford, Maine torn down, and despite the feelings, the positive to that was when we had that building available to us, we were able to do a tremendous amount of training that we would never be able to do with simulators. So I'm trying to find the good and the bad in that situation. We had 3 employees out of town doing training. I'll close with this. First off, District Chief Miller attended a FEMA-funded enhanced all-hazard incident management class at the Texas A&M University and College Station. That class focuses on incident management and hazard zone management more towards the senior staff like myself and the 3 chief officers. So big think, large disaster, large incident kind of training. Fire Marshal Nas and our Fire Safety Inspector David Molden went to Socorro, New Mexico, to New Mexico Tech for another FEMA-funded course, about a week long, both of these were. and that was in bombing threat response considerations, IEDs and other things. And again, that's kind of one of those areas where in the world of have to be jack of all trades, masters of none, we have to be somewhat familiar with the Homeland Security as it relates to those kind of incidents to adequately protect our community. And again, both of these were FEMA funded. Only thing we had to do was give them training time to go do it, and they came back with some great information that they're going to be sharing with our employees in training very shortly. So that's really all I have. I appreciate your time. Do you have any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
report.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I do have one question, Chief Baird. Sorry, I forgot. I've seen 2 different times advertised or posted for the 9/11 service. Is it 9 a.m. or
It is-
1 p.m.?
It is 9 a.m.
It is 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is 9 a.m. And we always, the only time we do it at 1 p.m. is when it falls on Sundays.
Sunday. Okay.
It's
Just
on-
wanted to clarify.
It's on Monday this year.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to council comments. Anyone on council wishing to make a comment?
I just took a drink, I have some ice cubes. But I see we have trees that are being planted at the new
Yes.
park. And so the landscaping is starting to go in, and I just
looking
think it
nice.
looks spectacular.
Yeah.
So, super
It's looking
excited
good.
about that.
There's been a lot of workers over there. I think taking advantage of the weather this
Yeah,
week, hopefully.
absolutely.
So. All right, that takes us to new businesses, ordinances, and resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 23-233, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease purchase agreement with Santander Bank N.A. to procure a vacuum truck from Best Equipment for use by the Service Department to be financed in 6-year terms in a total amount of $376,000. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the city manager to enter into lease purchase agreement with Santander Bank N.A. to procure a vacuum truck for Best Equipment for use by the Service Department to be financed in 6 one-year terms in the total principal amount of $376,000 pursuant to and in accordance with the terms and conditions attached hereto, which terms are fully incorporated as if fully rewritten herein under and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Such terms may be amended as determined in the city's best interest by the city manager and law director, so long as the terms do not change the ultimate price set forth therein. This lease purchase is authorized under Section 11.09 of the Charter because it is made through the Ohio Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program, contract number 101221-GRD, Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Move to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Parrish,
Yes.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-233, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease purchase agreement with Santander Bank N.A. to procure a vacuum truck from Best Equipment for use by the Service Department to be financed in 6-year terms in the total amount of $376,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Parrish,
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-234, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with RAC 7 for paving for certain portions of State Route 28. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the city manager to enter into and to execute an agreement with RAC 7 for paving of certain portions of State Route 28 for an amount not to exceed $9,750. The terms and conditions of this agreement are fully incorporated herein in their entirety as if fully rewritten herein pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Move to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Mr. Parrish,
Yes.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-234, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with RAC 7 for paving for certain portions of State Route 28.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Mr. Parrish,
Yes.
Ms. Russell,
Yes.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-235, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Claremont County Equipment for a lawnmower. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the city manager to enter into and to execute an agreement with Claremont County Equipment for a lawnmower for an amount not to exceed $15,519. The terms and conditions of this agreement are fully incorporated herein in their entirety as if fully written herein pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Move to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-235, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Claremont County Equipment for a lawnmower.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-236, an ordinance authorizing an employment contract with Michael Doss to serve as city manager. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with Michael W. Doss to serve as city manager under the terms provided in the attached contract and in Article 4 of the Milford City Charter. The terms and conditions of said contract shall be and are hereby incorporated by reference pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2, pursuant to and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Move to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
No.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ordinance number 23-236, an ordinance authorizing an employment contract with Michael Doss to serve as city manager.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
No.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mayor, I had one update based on a couple of emails that were sent to a couple of members of council on the lawsuit involving the short-term rental ordinances. Keep in mind, this lawsuit was filed on September 30th, 2022. The city immediately moved to dismiss the action within 3 weeks. There were 3 claims. One of the claims has already been dismissed. There are 2 remaining. That has been pending since October. Judge Barrett will rule when Judge Barrett rules, and right now the ordinance is not being enforced per an agreed order from the court. So anybody has any questions, they certainly can direct them to me. The city has my contact information, but the city moved very quickly and expeditiously to dismiss the case. The case is in front of Judge Barrett to rule as Judge Barrett sees fit. And again, the city's already been successful in getting one of the 3 claims dismissed and got that dismissed in early December. So unless council has any more questions, which I'm happy to explain, I won't get in a whole lot of strategy because obviously you're the client and we don't discuss attorney-client privilege items in public, but I did want to give an update because I know you guys were getting questions and I did want to express that update to you. And again, happy to say more if need be, but I think that answers the questions at least that I were seeing that some of you were getting.
I think so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
Director,
Thank you.
for the
Appreciate
update.
that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Again, I'm honored to be, we're still not at the 1 year. I'll make my 1 year, I'll make my 1 year speech next month. Thank you, Mayor.
We appreciate the update.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, I don't think there's any other old business, so to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Russell?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes. All right, thank you, everyone.